You're listening to Season 3 of Kinwomen ALOUD, where we talk about the things that matter most, the honest moments, the messy ones, and everything in between. We're so glad you're here. Let's tune in today for today's episode.
Well, it has been Season 3 of our podcast, and what a great opportunity that we have to lean into it. This time we have spoken about our body, our soul and our spirit. And we wanted to take some time today to be able to really lean into the learnings that we have and the beautiful privilege that it has been to live a life of meaning and purpose. And I'm super interested because you're both fresh back from Africa. And Penny and Kelly, just recently we were catching up about our podcast, and I said to them, I haven't heard any of your stories. So we are leaning into this very fresh. So as a friend, it's like you're welcome to grab a glass of wine, a cup of tea, and sit with us as we hear the stories of my friends who have been travelling and been really opening their eyes to a different culture and actually spending an extended amount of time there, which I think is very different to, you know, ecotourism where we just kind of drop in on a place and then leave again, but really embedding in the daily rhythm of what it means to travel. And so tell us a little bit about the country that you've just spent an extended amount of time in and what you love about that country.
If you start with Kelly, she's gonna go on and on because she loves this country. Okay. No, but over to Kel.
Well, I'll just... Rwanda's this tiny little country in East Africa, northern East Africa. So it's just part of the country is just on the equator, and then Kigali, which is the capital, sounded Chikali. That's about 3 hours south of that border, and it's surrounded by DRC, Uganda, Tanzania, and Burundi. So it's a landlocked country, which is 80% reliant on agriculture. But it's in sub-Saharan Africa, so people's perception is often that it's going to be a desert. But in fact, you couldn't be further from the truth. It's called a land of 1,000 hills, and it's just mountain after mountain after mountain of green rolling hills. Wow. Who would have imagined that, right?
And not just small hills.
No. And they're all terraced for agriculture. 80% of the country relies on agriculture. They're having to do a lot of reforesting actually right now. But there's also the Lake Kivu, which we got to spend a few days on, which is a large lake, one of the largest lakes in Africa, which is 40% in Rwanda and 60% in DRC, with like 800 islands in it. You know, it's just an amazing place. So that's where we travelled to. I was there for 10 weeks. Penn came and spent about 3 weeks there. And you know, the really interesting thing is because we were just living there.
Yes.
Do you know what? You have such a different experience, don't you, Penn?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So, Kelly, you've been there many times before.
I've been there many times before, probably, 15 times.
Wow, and a lot of that has a work context around that.
So I work in international development. So I work for an international NGO, and so I travel a lot for that NGO, and I still worked for that NGO while I was over there. So I did I still work the mornings for them, and then in the afternoon I also run my own project called Grassroots Rwanda with a charity that I lead called Foxglove Project. And so I was able to really invest into the partner organisation that I work with in Rwanda and also visit these remarkable women, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. Yeah. They're all part of my project in southern Rwanda in an area called Nyamagabe, about 3 hours south of Kigali.
Wow. And Penny, your first time to Rwanda?
Well, it was my first time, and I guess the question is what drew me there? Well, what drew me there was my friend, Kelly. So Kelly has been relentless in her storytelling of the women in Rwanda for 15 years, 14, 15 years.
Yes,
and so there was an opportunity because she was going to be there for so long to actually be there for an extended period of time, but continue my work that I do here remotely and just live with the people and be involved after I finish my work each day to actually participate in her work. And it was
amazing.
That was the opportunity. Yeah.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about your day-to-day, Penny.
Oh, my day-to-day.
Yeah,
well, my day began way before Kelly arose, I can assure you. And
I'm sure you
I
that
would
too.
I would set my alarm for 5:30, and by 6 o'clock I was online. So between 6 and 1 or whatever, I was working online. And so I'd get up and I'd get myself settled, and I mean the temperature there is beautiful. So I'd set up my computer, hoping that the Wi-Fi was working, and so we worked that one out after a while. And then after about a couple of hours, I would then go up to the Camellia to have a little cafe, and I'd walk
Looks
up
nothing
there.
like our cafe.
No. I'd walk up there and have a Spanish omelette.
Lovely.
With a pot of coffee, a black coffee, because I'm a black coffee girl. And then I would then wait for Kelly to arrive. She would then generally pop by and have a cup of coffee with me, but then we would go to the office where she mainly worked out of, and then I would continue to work there. And then in the afternoon it was like I was basically Kelly's
PA.
PA.
Advisor.
Yes.
was great.
Yes. Photographer, videographer. Oh, and it's like, every conversation that she had or meeting or whatever, it was kind of like there was a little task list happening on my notepad. Oh, Penny, you got that? Okay, Penny, you got that? Okay, can you take this? Can you do this? So it was a fantastic privilege.
I love that. I love the friendship. I love that you both lead really significant places, and particularly just an experience of the C-suite and that corporate environment, but just the humility of surrender and doing something different and being able to serve another is an incredible hallmark of both your stories. What was something that you found surprising, Pen, just in that layer of spirituality? Often I know when I travel, I just see things with a new lens, like I see things differently. So what surprised you about?
Well, I think the first thing that I don't know whether surprise is the way, but obvious. It was obvious the moment I landed, and I had to scan my bags as they came in. I'm talking about my hand luggage. I had to have it scanned. And the way the woman took my bag, placed it in a basket, then put it through the machine, and then I waited the other side for the bag. The
pace
the
of life.
pace of life. Everything is slower. There is no rush, no hurry. And then waiting for your main bags to come through. I went, okay, this is how we do it here. And it was like that. That was the most immediate sense that you had, was the pace. And
Right.
I loved it. Even how they walk. Like, in fact, we talked about it a number of times about, we'd be walking somewhere, you could feel like our first world kind of like, pace getting on, and we
Passing
go,
people.
Passing people.
Da.
And you go, no, let's slow down, because everyone walks everywhere. So you've got to be able to do the journey, right?
Yes.
Especially in the heat of the day as well.
Yeah.
So the pace. That was the
love
big,
that.
beautiful thing.
Yeah,
I love
stops
that.
you.
And what about you, Kel? You've travelled there many times, but was there anything of this last trip where you were there for 10 weeks, like really engaging in everyday stories and understanding another?
I think
anything
it's,
that surprised you?
I don't think it kind of surprises me now, but I think what I really love is the fact that the value people put on relationship there, on connection. It's really high. So even in their workplace, everyone have a communal lunch every day,
Right.
and the organisation provides it,
Right.
and everyone just sits and eats together, right? Even just with food on their laps, but all in a place together. It's this sense of, and the amount they can eat is just out of this world. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
It was impressive.
The pile on of food is just incredible.
Wow.
So it takes everyone a good hour together.
Wow.
But, and I've noticed that when I write an email now to anyone within the company organisations I work with, I write my normal email. Can we do this? Can you do this? What can I do? I've done this or whatever. And then I have to go back and rewrite the front paragraph. How are you? How's your family? Have your kids come back from boarding school? I write the personal thing, because in their culture, community is everything.
I love that.
Everything. It's not, for me, it's a bit of a tag on. Not that I don't have my friends are not a tag on in my life. I'm, incredibly close to good friends. But community at a wider level is something we've almost got to kind of make time for.
Yeah.
But in somewhere like Rwanda and in East Africa, you don't make time for it. It actually is.
Well, it's number
Central.
one. It's number one.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's almost like what I observed is that is the number one priority. Who are you? Who's important to you? They want to know you and your family.
They do.
They really, really do. Secondary is what do you do?
Yeah.
Whereas
Very secondary.
we
Very
are
secondary.
topsy-turvy on that.
They don't ask what you do. I don't think they ever ask me what I do, ever, back here.
That's because no one could work out what you do.
In fact, I'm going to
What do I
say
do?
this. I could be wrong. I don't think anyone asks me, what do I do?
Wow.
No. How interesting, hey?
That is super interesting because it's actually really rare that I have a conversation, particularly when I'm meeting someone new, that I don't ask them what their job is.
I know. No.
And maybe that's a lens for me to reshape common humanity and what we have in common rather than what separates us.
I think
Because in the
there's
Western
a-
world, that becomes a marker of success, right? And
Yes,
identity.
of course.
Or it's kind of like you're pitching everyone. That's that conversation. Where do I pitch you? But they don't do that. And I think there's I'm trying to say exactly the wording. There's an African proverb that says, you are a person because of the people around you.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's what makes you a person. And I'm
Exactly.
and
I love that.
is what it's like. So I think that's the surprising thing about when you visit, and especially when you become embedded. You know, I would walk. We walked everywhere, and sometimes I'd walk to office in the morning. And I remember meeting this young guy, and we walked together for the whole half an hour, and we're chatting about food and life, and he's practicing his English, and at the end of it, I said, "Oh, I'm going here." "Oh, well, what are you doing now?" "I'm helping with the NGO." "Oh," he said, "Oh, I work in a restaurant. Can you come and have a meal?" And come, you think to yourself, you establish this rapport in this 1/2 an hour walk, and he never asked me for anything, which is another really interesting thing about Rwanda as a different kind of culture to much of the developing world is no one ever asks you for money, or no, it's quite. There's a real strong ethic of self-respect.
Wow.
Incredibly
Yeah,
strong.
very.
So they've really got this. I mean, you do know, everyone knows that Rwanda had a genocide just 30 years ago.
Well, not everyone does, so let's lean into that a touch.
It was a genocide only 30 years ago now, 1994.
So describe what a genocide is.
And so it was a civil war within the country, and it was it only lasted 100 days, but in those 100 days, 1 million people died.
Wow.
1 million people out of 7 million. 2 million were displaced, and 1 million fled the country.
Wow.
400,000 women were raped. It was a horrendous act of half the population against the other. And it had been simmering for, 50 years, but it exploded in one day. And you kind of you think about every person that we meet, right, Penny, person you met, they've been impacted by it.
No one was not touched by that. And they had an immediate story, because this is only
It's
30
immediate.
years ago. An immediate story.
Like a first level story, right?
First level story.
So reflect back to me, Penny. You're seeing the grassroots Rwanda work and the day-to-day of what that looks like with fresh eyes after hearing for many years lots of stories from your closest friend. What was something that you saw on the ground? Like what did you see the work as?
Okay, well, now we're going to the project that you that you have been, founding, developing, growing over 15 years. So this is all about women. And the beauty and the gift for me, after hearing all these stories for so many years, is I understood how it could work in their structure. I totally understood going right down to that village. I'm not going to go into the different structures, but and the impact it can make to those who are the poorest of the poor, which is what this project is about. And the impact is so significant for them. But even if I look at it still when they have come through and they're involved and they are, like just so flourishing in their world, I could still look at it in my first world eyes and go, they're still very poor.
Wow.
And the thing that I came away from that is there is no shame in poverty compared in my eyes. You know what I mean? Because that's what we see. It's almost like there's we're right, they're wrong. Well, no, actually, because the richness that these women have in the way that they've chosen to live and can live, even if I think that it's poor, is actually there's richness there that even I don't have.
Yes.
Or we don't have in our first world.
And there would be a spiritual poverty or a relational poverty
so
that we might have.
So the relationship of what these self-help groups do for women is so rich, and it's like it's lifelong, and just that commitment to one another is outstanding, and we wouldn't be able to achieve that.
I know.
Australia.
So describe the mission, Kel. Describe what it is.
Well, it's called Grassroots Rwanda, and what it aims to do is working in one district. There's 5 districts in Rwanda. One of them's
This
there's
is
30
the structure.
districts. There's 30 districts in Rwanda, and one of them is called Nyamagabe, and it's got about 500,000 people down the south of the country. It's the poorest district. And what we have done there, started all these years ago, 15 years ago, was helping the poorest women, so the women who are completely the outliers in a community. They'll be illiterate, they will be maybe living in a lean-to shelter, they might be living outside with the animals, feeding their children 1 meal a day. And what we aim to do is to spend quite a considerable amount of time speaking with them, so they'll come and join a group of 19 other women, group of 20, and you stay together for life.
Yes.
And it's about economic, social and political empowerment. So economically they start micro businesses.
Yep.
Socially they find friends for the first time in their life, often, or since childhood. And then politically they just become involved in community. It's not about becoming, it's not like they become, marchers, marching. I mean, it's just that they become part of the decision making, part of the
advocacy.
Oh, it's just it's spectacular, and so that's what we've done, and we've got now nearly 30,000 women in these groups in this one district, which is, I was so Pen, it was so nice.
It was amazing.
Come and see them.
Well, it was amazing because I actually got to see those before they were involved in the groups. Literally going to their homes,
just forming some new groups,
to form that day new groups, and then those who have been involved in groups for a few years now, and just their voice to speak up is absolutely outstanding, and their commitment not only to them and their group, who meet weekly.
Yes.
Every week.
This is lifelong.
Yeah.
This is absolutely lifelong, and how they support one another and champion one another, and how they educate themselves, everything from money through to, how to conflict resolution or
goal setting. To run all these trainings that just give them these basic skills that revolutionise them, right?
Yeah, absolutely revolutionise. And they're just becoming, their voices just become so strong in the community, and then they're leading this committee for the village, and they're it's just outstanding. From more than nothing, hopeless is the word.
Wow.
I remember we went into one woman's house. This is in a village where they haven't yet got self-help groups; they're just starting, and she had this little rundown place, and we went into the house, and she had 2 children. Her husband would have been at least 30 years older, don't you think, Pen?
Oh yeah,
he was good, and he looked quite frail and week, so she was obviously, supplying the home. She was in her the late 20s, early 30s, and there was a pig in the lounge room. Right, it's dark. There's no electricity, of course, or anything. So just this
which
dark,
is quite normal,
dank room.
By the way. But
there's the pig. She has to sleep in the rooms. The kids have to sleep in this little outbuilding because the pig is in the room. And so I said to Pam, well, it's not her pig. I don't know whose pig it is. So sure enough, it's someone else's pig. But she looks after that pig, and that's how she makes some money. So the pig's pooing and weeing in the lounge room. In this one room place, they have to live somewhere else, and she's going down to the valley floor and feeding the pig and getting some money, might be like 20 cents a day. And you're looking at her and thinking, how's she ever going to get out of this? But I say to Pen, I come back there next year, you're not going to believe it. I will have her story. And she'll be running her own businesses. The pig won't be here anymore. She would have built a shelter. She'll be sending her children to school, feeding them 3 meals a day. She'll have private health insurance, and she'll look at me and say, I don't need you.
And she'll say, and I have lots.
I have lots. Exactly.
Wow.
I have lots. That was one of the key things, takeaways for me, is that there were a couple of women that said it like that. And I went, Penny, you have lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very powerful what you see.
I feel like I could sit in this conversation for so long, and our listeners, we love your time, but we love stories too.
Honestly, there's so many. And Pen talked about their voices, the women's voices. And can I just say to you, we talked about the genocide earlier, and out of that tragedy, right, we're just... What women there at that point, women were considered to be fourth-class citizens. So it was the men, the children, the animals, then the women. And what the new leadership did in 2003 was change the constitution to say they're going to be. They actually did a paper called Rwanda 2020, which prioritised 3 things: pro-poor, pro-women, anti-corruption.
Wow.
That was the platform. And in 2003, they changed the constitution, said every committee, formal or informal, had to have 30% women representation, including the parliament.
Wow.
And the parliament now has 63% women,
Wow.
the highest in the world. So out of this absolute, beyond tragedy, the whole country reorientated itself. It's like it shifted and moved and said, who do we want to be? And now women... Even the poorest women, they speak up once they've got some knowledge, and because it's facilitated by the infrastructure. Do you know what I mean? The framework of the country.
Yes.
So it's spectacular what can happen to the poorest woman, right, Pen?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, Kelly, you travel a lot as part of your work, so you see different places. But I'll tell you, we're talking about spirituality here and what deepens. And it always does give you an opportunity to deepen the spiritual in you. Well, it did for me, and I got to thinking, I think what it gives you the opportunity to do is to listen to your heart. But I think I came away with this sense and a deeper belief in good, in purpose, in connection, because really that's what these women
have with each other.
They have a purpose and togetherness, and the goodness that comes out of that is just beautiful. Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Pen mentioned that we went to this day, they were forming groups, which was a new village, right? New sector actually that I've just gone into.
What a day.
Such a beautiful day. But 2 of the women who were in another sector came to say to these women, it really works, essentially.
Wow.
Because they can't foresee how this could possibly work. How could joining a group of 20 women change my life, right? So you have to build
And there was
belief.
about, 100, maybe 200 women?
200
women there. It was like a rally.
It's like a rally.
Women only.
To join a group, right?
Okay.
To join a
in the
self-help group.
middle of a field.
Just out in the open, middle of this field, they're dancing and then that's just... But these 2 women got up because they get up to tell these women... This works.
This is who I was.
Because I was you, and here's me today.
Wow.
And these women are
Power
just...
of women's voices.
Her voice, Evangeline Penn, her voice was like, right, and you're dirty and you're smelly and that's not good for you and that is not good for your husband and your family. You need to clean. And then they're telling me, the interpreter's telling me, and I'm literally just about collapsing at the things she's saying, you know.
Yeah.
But she's just giving them her sense of truth and this is where we could be. And you know what? Those women hung off her words.
And the
Did they not?
dignity that we long for as women.
Exactly, because she's saying this is what's in you. You don't know what's in you, but this is what's in you. And the rising sense of belief there, do you know, every single one of those women joined a group. that day.
Every single one.
Every single one. And they were hanging off her.
And there's no
Evangeline.
handouts.
No handouts.
No
Don't give a
handouts
cent.
whatsoever.
But you have to come to those groups and save money every week and put it into the pot because that's how you start your business. I don't give any money for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's beyond your comprehension to see. And what I love, Mans, is every group gives itself a name.
Okay.
And that becomes their name for their life, right? And so they have to think of a name, and their name, they call it names things like women holding up each other's arms, women marching forward together, women declaring no more poverty. And there was one group, and I'd never heard this word before, and I was saying to them, what does it mean? How? Explain to me. And then they were trying to explain it, obviously, in Kinwomen, and then eventually I looked it up on Google, actually, and in Kinwomen, and it meant women are the heart of a home.
Yes.
And they were saying, we're the heart of the home and we're going to be different.
Wow.
It was such it really, I mean, how can your sense of what you can be in the world not change when you see that?
Yeah.
What can we be in the world?
Yeah, and what I see is I think the spiritual poverty that we face in the West is isolation and loneliness.
Absolutely.
And a lack of hope and not being able to contribute to
That's why
something
I'm saying
beyond
they're
ourselves.
rich. They're rich in many ways, being a part of this.
So just to end our time together and to end this season.
I honestly could I not talk about this for hours? I mean, I really, really could, because I think when you said that, Mads, spiritual poverty comes from this sense of not thinking of beyond ourselves, because these women every day have been confronted with that being their reality, and now they've found out it could be something different.
Yes.
What about if we found that out in a really
incredible.
deep way?
And that's the last question I want to ask is how can we contribute to this work? What can we do?
Oh, well, I think, really promoting the idea of if you give women opportunity, believe in the capacity of women.
Yeah.
That would be my first thought.
Yeah.
Believe in it. And I know in the West we can do it as almost a demand, but what about if it came not from a demand but from a really, really true core belief
Yeah.
of what women have got to contribute to
Of
the world? Because
equality.
I know it's spectacular in every context. So that would be, and that the hope that can bring. Yeah,
Okay,
Pam.
well, I'm going to say practically what our listeners can do.
Great.
Because I think you need to find out more about the Foxglove Project, because what I know is that even a little of what we can give goes such a long way over there to training these women for the self-help group. So I just know the impact. So I would say find out more and give something regularly, even if it's a little, because it goes a long way.
Because we've got lots.
Because I have lots.
And a significant way that we pay it forward is extending generosity, and it's a powerful way for us to live a meaningful life.
And you know what? They're practicing that. That's the beautiful thing. They're not sitting and waiting. Let me just finish by saying this. I'm going to try
You'll
to
never
wrap it
stop
up.
her, you know that.
But this multiplication factor came back to me so strongly when I was there, because there was one village where we'd set up 10 groups, which is 200 women, right? And it costs about $40 for a woman, one-off giving, it covers her for a lifetime for everything. Right? It's just out of control that's what can happen. But we had these 10 groups, and they were all there chatting, and then they said to me, I said, they're telling me all their own stories about their change, and then they said, one of the women stood up and she said, we want to let you know, they're always doing this through an interpreter, that group, that village, we've started 17 more groups ourselves. 7, nothing to do with me. They have now got another 340 women.
And the radical part of that story that it's hard for us to understand in the West is this. It's the ongoing legacy of generations to come.
And
Exactly.
So
it's
it's
generations,
children growing up.
generosity will change, roll out across generations, will never be the same again.
Amazing.
And they have empowered themselves.
Yes.
No handouts.
No.
No goods exchanged other than tools to empower them to do what they can do, because, these are our sisters.
Yes.
These
Well,
are our
could
sisters,
be us.
and they are
I'm going to
amazing.
bring us to a full stop because we live in the world of a comma. And the full stop for us today is this. We are Kinwomen. Start a conversation that matters.
Yeah.
And it begins in your everyday with the something little that you have in your hand. How can you extend that to another and start a conversation that matters? Join us for more conversation at kinwomen.com.
Thanks for tuning into Kinwomen ALOUD, where real conversations connect us to one another. This episode was recorded at Elemental Sound in Perth with studio engineer Mark Ralph and produced by Natalie Kilner at Mindful Marketing Studio. Be sure to follow Kinwomen ALOUD on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and follow our socials for more conversations that matter. Until next time, you are our kin.